the Outer Banks. This is Steven Silvisa, our special guest.
Aloha!
I'm Wyatt.
I'm Dad.
And welcome to Dad and Wyatt Talk NBA. Today we will be explaining the 2021 off-season coaching staff changes so far.
So, yeah, Steven loves NBA, so he wanted to be on this one. We were happy to have him here because we're on vacation. Woo, woo, woo. So there's 4 changes so far. We're going to start talking about the one with the Boston Celtics. Why don't you start with that?
So the Boston Celtics have recently hired Ime Udoka, former assistant coach of the Brooklyn Nets. And the Brooklyn Nets actually beat the Boston Celtics in the first round of the playoffs, which also could mean differences to the NBA. I think because Ime Udoka changing that coaching staff up a little bit with Steve Nash thing there and having Ime Udoka leave to coach Celtics, I think that might hurt them a tad next season, but I still have faith in this NBA.
Oh, that's wise.
Well, and if you're thinking about Ime Udoka, you really have to go back to his pedigree as one of Greg Popovich's assistants with the Spurs. And as an assistant coach with the Spurs in 2014, he was actually part of that team that won the NBA championship. So he's coming from a player in the NBA and also overseas to being an NBA champion as an assistant to being a top assistant with the Nets, and it's his turn, and I think he's going to do well. From there, we have Rick Carlisle. And where's Rick Carlisle becoming the coach, Wyatt?
The Indiana Pacers. But I think that we should let Steven say something about Ime Udoka really quick.
No. Do you have anything to add about Ime Udoka?
Not really. I think he could do a little bit better being a little stronger team player. I've noticed some antics in the locker room that haven't really been going extremely well, so if he could just handle his role a little bit and put his ego in his pocket, I think he'll go a lot further in the league.
Right on. Well, thank you for your feedback.
So now Rick Carlisle, he's the new coach of the Indiana Pacers, which takes him away from the Mavericks, which I think could hurt the Mavericks a lot, but I still have a lot of faith in Luka and what he can do for this league. I think that Rick Carlisle coaching the Indiana Pacers for the second time in his career could get the Indiana Pacers somewhere in this league. I'm excited to see what they can do with him.
About Rick Carlisle, you have to think about him as the time that he did serve as the Mavericks coach, because he was the coach on the team that went into Miami when you had the original Big Three of, well, I guess they're not really the original Big Three. We probably ought to give that to Garnett and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce.
But they had Jason Terry, they had...
Stop for a second. When you go to that Mavericks team, they played that LeBron team with LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, all of those guys, and they were expected to run through them. But the team you're talking about on the Mavericks was a great team led by Rick Carlisle. It had, like you said, it had Jason Terry, it had Dirk Nowitzki, and it also had Jason Kidd.
Jinx, who actually just became the Mavericks coach.
Yeah, and that's an interesting hire. I mean, he's near and dear to their heart. I'm pretty sure Jason Kidd was drafted out of college at Cal to the Dallas Mavericks, so he started there originally. And if I'm wrong about that, I'm sure Wyatt will put some copy on the screen that'll acknowledge my mistake. That'll come in the edit. But then he went and he had some interesting years coaching the Brooklyn Nets, I believe. Or did he coach the Brooklyn Nets? I know he coached the Milwaukee Bucks for a long time. He's also a champion as an assistant coach. He was on that Lakers staff that won in the bubble. And it should be a good hire. So the last one is the Portland Trail Blazers making...
Blazers.
There I go, Blazers.
Also, would Stevens like say something about Jason Kidd?
I think Jason Kidd is a fantastic athlete, and I'm happy to see him moving up the ranks into the coaching role. I feel he can bring a strong leadership model that can take the team to the championship.
See, I think he's right, and they've got the team to get there. So, speaking of the championship, right now we're sitting doing this video because... So, speaking of the championship, right now we're doing this video because we needed something to talk about because they're in the semifinals for the conferences, and you have the Clippers who are down 3-1 to the Suns. That game is tonight, and the Suns can potentially go to the finals. And you also have the
Hawks and the Bucks.
The Hawks and the Bucks,
which we talked about last episode. But
currently the Bucks are up 2-1. But speaking of the Hawks, Steven was telling me earlier today that one of the first NBA players that ever resonated with him as a fan was Spud Webb. So I thought I would throw it to Steven for a second and let him tell us what he loved about Spud Webb.
Spud Webb was an individual on the court that was amazing. His speed was unheard of, but the one thing he did that really made me a fan was he could slam dunk. And he was 5'7", I believe. And I'm 6'1", and I could barely even touch the rim at the time in my youth. So that gave me the motivation to, work the heavy leg days, get my, do the drills, get to the point where you can finally slam dunk. So Spud Webb made a difference.
Yeah, he definitely made a difference. He was a slam dunk champion. He won the slam dunk contest. At one of the All-Star breaks. I'm not sure exactly what year it was, but I'm sure we'll find it and put that in when we edit this down as well. But going from 5'7" to guards to 6'3" guards, the Portland Trailblazers are the last team we're going to talk about, and they just made Chauncey Billups a first-time head coach. Chauncey. So
currently in the playoffs, he's still helping the Clippers because currently he is the assistant coach of the Clippers. But next season, that has changed. He's going to coach the Portland Trailblazers. I think that if they don't trade Dame and CJ, he can make a difference. And also, if they trade Dame, he can make a difference. And if they trade CJ, he can make a difference. But whoever they do trade and sign during the offseason, I think Chauncey Billups was an amazing player and is still doing well as a assistant. And I think he's going to do good as a head coach.
Awesome. And you may think it's bold to have him be a first-year head coach, but Chauncey Billups was an All-American in high school, I feel like he was a McDonald's All-American maybe. I mean, he was a champion with the Pistons and the team that beat the Lakers. And that was the one with Shaq and Karl Malone and all those guys on it. And he led that Pistons team to the championship. Larry Brown was the coach. And he was actually the finals MVP. So everyone has been talking about how they've been grooming him because he's a winner to go in there and be that kind of head coach. And I think he will be. He's always been successful from college to the pros to now. So, in closing, anything that you want to add, Wyatt?
Thank you for Steven for joining us
Oh,
today.
thank you. Blessings, everyone.
And please,
World peace.
World peace.
please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss
Subscribe for
another
Wyatt's channel.
Subscribe.
Subscribe, hit that notification bell.
And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Peace.